Es lindo que nos cuentes. ¿Qué pasa este carencia? No se paten, no. Cuidado.
That was accidental.
Is my sound gonna come through there too?
Only these ones, only those ones work.
I can turn it off.
Okay.
But you'll hear from that.
I turn it towards you so you can, I'll put it. Please excuse us for a moment while we stop the video. Testing. Okay, I think we're good. Hi.
Thank you all for coming out tonight for our first meeting of this year. We're very excited to have in-person and online options, so whatever works for people's schedule and what you're comfortable with is great. Well, if you don't mind, we'll start with introducing the directors who's here, and then if you don't mind, we'll just introduce ourselves, like we have a band, orchestra, choir, even in what grade you're in, that would be great.
This is a music branch meeting.
We can do this for a little bigger.
Yeah.
We figured there'd be a lot of people, so that's what we.
First, sure, I'll say that a little bit. Hello, everyone. My name is Mason Manint. I am the Indian Trail Junior High Band Director. This is my first year at the Indian Trail Junior High. I'm super excited. You'll hear more about what we've been doing so far in a few minutes, but I figured I'd introduce myself to you all.
Hi, I am Ms. Goika. I teach orchestra here at the junior high. Been here for a few years now. Yeah, that's about it.
Hi, I am Mr. Cannon. I am the cameraman for tonight's fun extravaganza. I teach beginning band. And Mr. Smith is out doing door duty, so he's around here.
As well.
And then we have all these lovely folks with us. Everybody wave. And then we have Zoom folks. Hi, Zoom folks.
My name is Tracy Plaza. There is a door on that side as well.
Yeah, there's some chairs over
I'm this year's music band president, and I have an 8th grade trumpet player in the band program.
Oh, me? My name is Eileen Santini. I'm the co-treasurer. I actually don't have a significant detail, but I have a sophomore who plays flute, piccolo, tenor, and alto, and a 3rd grader who hopefully will be in music.
I'm Gina Tanasardo, and Mama's been bugging you.
Oh, my God.
Thanks for your patience. I have a 6th grade boy in band. I'm Tanya, my daughter, she has 5th grade, and she's going to be a cello.
I'm Matt. I was a player who played.
I'm Kelly, as a 6th grade cello.
I'm Steve, I'm a 5th grader who played.
I'm Maria. This is Jaden. He's in Flyer. Hopefully he'll play. Hi, my name is Tanya. And I was just here who's today.
I do. It's on the board.
Thank you. Our treasurer is John, and I think he's on our Zoom link.
Yes, John, are you ready to give a treasury report?
Yes, I'm really having trouble hearing you, but yes.
I'll mute everything. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's the situation.
We need a second. Okay. John, can you hear us?
I can, it's better now, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna, or Miss Toika's gonna unmute herself in a second, and I'm gonna give you control of the screen here, so that way you can share the treasurer's report, okay?
Okay. If I can figure that out.
Go ahead and hit, you can start sharing. You should be able to hit share screen.
Did that work?
Yes.
Did that work?
Yep, you're good.
Hello?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. So the balance last May was $6,403.51. We had expenses for a filing fee for the non-tax status. We gave out headphones to eighth graders for $1,200 basically, and T-shirts to the fifth graders for roughly $800. So our current balance is $4,320.08, with an upcoming payment to Mr. Cannon for, I think it's $250, right? For the pencils or whatever that it is.
Yes, for the sniffies that we use for recruitment for fifth grade.
Okay, and I will give that check to you tomorrow.
John, do we have any questions for John?
Are there any questions from the room for John or from Zoom for John?
Oh, John, I have a question for you.
Okay.
The IRS was supposed to refund our 501c3 filing fee. More on that later. Did that show up?
I haven't. It came to us.
Oh, it's a check. Okay.
It came to us. I wasn't gonna give it to you at debit meeting.
I put it on the debit card, so I didn't know how.
Mr. Tank, we put two things that looked important from the IRS on my desk. I want to. So,
Perfect.
yeah, I got you.
Just want to make sure they actually refund it.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't understand a word of that, so.
Mrs. Santini is taking care of it.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Check has to go to John.
Oh, let's go, John. So John, when you come to drop off that check tomorrow, there's going to be a check here for you to pick up.
Got it.
Okay. Did you get that? Okay. All right. Oh. Where did you put the new thing?
Where'd you go? Come on.
I'm stopping. This one? Where am I stopping here? This one? Oh, okay. Sorry, Miss Toika made it look all nice and pretty because that's what she does, but I don't know where I'm supposed to stop. Okay. So beginning band and orchestra updates. Mr. Smith is currently giving the Zoom. Yeah, if you want to grab him real quick, it's giving the Zoom link to another family who's trying to get in. The beginning of the year numbers weren't looking so great for fifth grade band, so we asked for some help from the music parents for Spetzels because bribery works sometimes and it works great. So the music parents bought us some Spetzels that we used as incentives to get kids enrolled. So kids that had signed up at the end of last year, this year all got a golden ticket and a Spetzel. And then as kids have been signing up, we gave them also a Spetzel and or Snifty, sorry, not Spetzel, a Sniffy and a golden ticket. So the whole purpose of the golden ticket was this year, as I was going through some of my my family's kind of stuff, I found like an old thing from when I started band, and it was like a certificate of like, here's the first step of your journey. And I realized that we don't really do that here, and we don't give them anything that says like, this is your start. So we wanted to give them something that was tangible that said like, this is, you know, you're welcoming and this is your start. So that was kind of the purpose of the golden tickets, to give them something they can put in a scrapbook or something that parents can hold on to, and, you know, 20, 30 years down the road, they can give to them and say, hey, look, you started here and this is what you did. And since then, orchestra's at what, 47 now? 48?
48, we started the year at 12.
So yeah, orchestra started the year at 12 kids and they're up to 48. Band started the year, yeah, that's awesome.
Last year, we only had, well, not only, because obviously it was great, but we had about 24 that came into IT. So 48 is outstanding. Hopefully next year we'll get to that 96 to keep going every year. So,
And then, so say, can you come over here and say that one more time because people on Zoom can't hear you?
oh, I'm sorry. I'm helping another student getting her instrument for the very first time, and she is super excited. So we wanted to make sure that she got it and she's able to kind of get set up. I am the beginning orchestra director. I'm Mark Smith. I started last year in December sometime. Last year's fifth grade numbers, we had about 24, and this year, thankfully, we were able to get up to 48. So we're hoping that our efforts are going to continue to grow through various other communications and stuff like that. So we're very, very excited with where things are going, and we can't wait to see what the future holds with that. So yeah.
And then for the band side, we started the year with 40 and we're up to almost 80 now at 78. For the beginning band, 25 of which play trumpet, so it's going to be a fun year. Instead of having 76 trombones in the marching band, we're going to have 76 trumpets. So, you know, we're going to make it work. But yeah, it's going to be a fun year. And the kids, they all got their instruments last week, the ones who ordered them. We're handing out scholarships to those who were receiving scholarships this week. And Mr. Smith and I have been working with district to streamline the scholarship process even more than it has been in the past. So that way we can get everything going. And everything's been going really well. The students are super excited to get going, and lessons are off to a good start. So that's pretty much what we have for this year. Your cameraman is rolled over.
So the start of the year was absolutely fantastic. We hit the ground running, and we actually just had our first performance on Friday with the high school group. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about the kiddos. They were resilient in learning 3 pieces in just a hair under 3 weeks, which is phenomenal and absolutely bonkers to me that they can learn 3 pieces in just that short amount of time. I've seen a lot of good feedback from them about what we can do to make it better. So if your student's in band, they come see me. You'll be looking forward to being able to do performances like that, where we'll get to interact with not only grades above them, but also in high school to build the relationship in the community with the high school groups as well. And I know that we talked about this, and I know that we're going hoping to further along the community between the 5th graders and the junior high. We're going to be creating some videos to welcome in the 5th graders into band as well. So.
Right, so as far as IT orchestra goes, we have been very lucky. We started this year with a student teacher, Ms. Gilmore, who could not be here today, but she's been kind of running the class. It's been a great experience for the kids and for her as well. One really exciting thing we have coming up for orchestra is we actually had a piece composed for us, like the Indian Trail Orchestra specifically. And this piece was just sent to us. It's called Monkey Business. We're really excited, and it's actually going to have an electronic background while the orchestra is playing. And it's going to be performed in March when we do our concert that's combined with the high school. So it's going to be 6th grade through seniors all playing this piece together with the electronic backing track. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited to get started with that one.
Yeah. I wanted to thank my coworkers, Ms. Stoika and Mr. Smith, for helping us on Friday, because it would have been more difficult to put out the very I call them mini fires, for any issues that we might have had. So they were very helpful to have them. So I appreciate it. You were a very good music stand.
And Mr. Tankersley, choir director, couldn't be here this evening, but he did send a report. So from the choir, things are progressing well for all choirs at IT. Students are getting more confident in their singing after not singing in person for over 1.5 years. I'm proud of their progress and know this will be a great year. The new Performing Arts Wing looks beautiful, and students have enjoyed learning in the new space. But the Performing Arts team is busy organizing the new space for teachers and students. Glee Club starts next week, and students seem excited to be singing in an after-school club. I'm looking forward to welcoming students from band and orchestra into Glee Club next week. Mr. Tankersley.
Any questions for any of the directors about things that are going on or general questions? Your dad, what's it?
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to mention that we start dancing next week. I forgot because I just pushed it over about that. Yeah, we start dancing next week.
So for those of you on Zoom that didn't hear, jazz will start next week as well. And Pup House is starting one. So So Pep Notes will start on the 18th and Jazz will start next week. And Glee Club will start when? Did you say? Next week? So we're going to be starting our after school clubs in the next week or two.
Just like, can you remind us what Pep Notes is?
Yeah, Pep Notes is a couple that is made up of dance and orchestra. Anybody that wants to play is welcome, which is kind of fun. We don't get the opportunity to do that a whole lot. But we tend to play some of those cheesy pop tunes. We play like Call Me Maybe. We also do the chicken dance. And our goal is to be able to play at different like little events around the community. We're hoping to eventually be able to play at some sports games as well. And just really kind of get our wonderful, wonderful young musicians that we get to see every day, get them out where the rest of the community can see them as well.
I'll call out to welcome everybody to this year and not throwing immediate, but you might want to be thinking of, you might be interested in joining the leadership team for the music parents. It's not a hard gig at all. The directors are awesome and do 98% of the work. But we're here to assist them. So really what the music parents are here to do is try to make their 98% a little bit easier for them. So we would really welcome a lot of, especially fifth grade parents that might be interested in stepping into some of the leadership roles. If you were interested in doing treasurer position, president, vice president, secretary, I think all of those things are going to be opening up because we have eighth graders out. So that would be, if you were thinking maybe you would like to do that, please talk to one of the directors. So you don't have to do that. You can just say you want to help. We're going to have several events we're trying to get to throughout the year where we're going to need some volunteers for concerts or contests and other events. So if you'd like to start small by just participating in some of those things and then maybe, considering some other things down the line, that would be awesome. Anything else to add to that, Director?
We still have a social media position open for anyone who wants to handle our social media or outreach for the music parents. We have all the accounts set up and self and stuff. It's just we don't have anyone to run it. So we're looking for somebody to step in that role who can help us with outreach and get things we're doing in our classroom out into the community and show the community the awesome things that we're doing here in the music program. I think pictures from our performance. Yeah, we have pictures. We take plenty of pictures and videos that we can send you, and it's really just we send you stuff and you post it and go crazy on the social media. So we're looking for somebody who would like to step into that role. So if anyone's interested, just let me know and we can get that going. Or let you know.
Yeah, so reach out to the directors. They can reach out to us and we'll get everybody connected and get things going because there are amazing things going on. We want the whole community to know about the awesome stuff that's happening in the music programs. And in the music programs, we let slide at some point in history that we are a nonprofit group, but we didn't have a tax exempt status. So Eileen has been doing this amazing undertaking of getting our filing and dealing with IRS governmental things. Right there, she deserves a lot.
So I was hoping this would be the update where I said, I wanted that, but no. So I applied officially for 501c3 status back in, what was that, March? And I got word probably a month ago that they rejected our application because our EIN number doesn't exist. That's what they said. So we had an EIN number back from 1986 when we started. And apparently the IRS lost it. They have no record of it at all. In fact, it was quite mystifying. I mean, I talked to somebody about it and he was like, I've never seen anything like this. There's no evidence that that ever existed. And I have the letter, so I know that it exists. So I was like, well, I have this letter. And he was like, well, what's the form number on the letter or whatever? And I told him what he needed to know. And he was like, yep, that's the right letter. I was like, well, I know. So he said that I was like, well, what do I have to do now? It's like, send this to you and then whatever, there's a process. And he was like, well, you could do that, but since we don't even know that letter exists, it probably makes more sense to just apply for a brand new number because you can do that online and it's done in like 10 minutes. So just pretend that we don't have that number, I guess, is what he advised me to do, which is fascinating, but whatever, that's what he said to do. So on that note, I went and looked online to see what questions we had to answer in order to get an EIN number. And the big one, I mean, they ask you what kind of organization you are, and I think we would call ourselves a PTA, PTO type organization. Like, it makes sense to me that that's what we do. We support students in a similar way. But the one thing that we need to decide is the responsible person for the organization. So the 501c3 is actually attached to that person's social security number, and that person is who the IRS like addresses all correspondence to. So the issue is, I don't want to make myself that person or any of the music parents officers, because we're 3 years and we're gone. And what ends up happening, because I've had this happen in other organizations, is that the IRS will send correspondence to the music parents and a person's attention, and the mailroom will go, who? And it'll disappear. And I've had that happen on PTAs and stuff where we just never get letters because nobody knows the name of a president of the PTA from, 8 years ago, once that, So that's my concern, is that we need to be thoughtful about who we make that person, because it's got to be somebody who's going to be associated with the school for a decent amount of time. So in that vein, I actually called Mr. Keeley today to ask him his opinion on that, because I really want the District 4 administration to make a decision about what's the wisest choice. I mean, to me, it would probably either be like the school principal or a district administration person. So I did not hear back from him, so I'm kind of waiting for that. Once we have that decision made, so it's easy. I mean, I've already done the application, so I just have to get an EIN number and then resubmit the application and then wait 6 months again. But at that point, it should all be easy. So that's the answer that I need right at this point. So I left him a pretty detailed message so he would have some idea of what on earth I was talking about, and I'll follow it up with an email if I don't hear from him, because I know he's a busy guy. But that's what I'm waiting for. So if anybody runs into him in the hallway, you could bring it up. Because that once we get that done, it'll make a lot of things easier for the music parents. Because one of the things that we haven't been able to do is fundraisers like eat out nights in the community and all that kind of stuff. And that's because we're not a 501c3. So once we get that status taken care of, it'll open up a lot more avenues of fundraising. So, if that makes sense. Any questions about that? So they refunded our fee. We'll have to pay it again when I submit a new application. So
Well, thank you for taking care of all that. I know that's a whole job in of itself, so thank you for that.
And I think the board would say whatever Mr. Keeley suggests is good. Like whoever they say.
yeah, once I hear from him, I'll let you guys know, just so you know who the person's gonna be. But yeah, I think, he's probably the best person to make the decision on that.
Yeah, that's what I would defer to on yours.
Yep.
I think all of us are on that same page, right? So, yeah, well, because of the directors, I would say whoever Tim says is good with us.
Perfect. Well, as soon as I hear from him, we'll roll forward with that.
Okay.
Awesome.
March
Thank you, Deanna.
No problem.
Eighth grade Gibson Awards from last year, were some got left over and we're trying to figure out what to do with those. A few I was able to get to Mr. Corey at the Friday performance of ones that he said were still involved at the high school level when we passed those on. I think we're just going to, the ones that we can't seem to get a hold of, we've really tried every avenue possible to get these to them. So I think we'll put them in the stash of they could be used and recycled again for someone, because we've really tried. That's not
hard. Are they not at ET or are they just not in music at ET?
in music, because I only reached out to Mr. Corey, who's the department chair. I didn't do a broad whole AT.
If you want to send me a list, I'll reach out to the administrators at AT. I mean, it's worth it to try. Otherwise,
I would say try that. We're not gonna do
I can do that. Just send me a list of who I know it's hard. It's such a difficult. Handing things out is hard.
This should come up.
So under new business, we have several events coming up this year. First, IT is hosting the solo and ensemble contest on February 26th. So I'll let the directors kind of talk about what we might need for that. You know, it sounds far away, but it'll come up quick.
Yeah, I'm kind of helping Mr. T with it. So one of the primary responsibilities of like a parent group during a solo ensemble contest is to sessions and things like that. It kind of doubles a little bit as a fundraiser as well. But typically in the like cafeteria area, they would have just some little snacks. There used to be, I think, pizza. I think we've done in the past when we did like district contests. So you could sell like slices of pizza. There were drinks, all those sorts of things. That's kind of where the main bulk of the volunteers will go. But we will also need volunteers to help at like a welcome table. You know, greeting parents and even other directors as they come in. People to help monitor the like performance rooms to kind of make sure that the area outside stays kind of quiet, so that way in the middle of the performance you don't hear like a screech. We usually have kids to also help with those things, but we need like parent volunteers to kind of overwatch the kids, I guess you can say. Those are sort of the main things. We will also, I'm guessing, like what we do with contests is we ask for, you know, if you cannot help that day, we ask for maybe donations of cans of pop or like package, like those party packages of chips with all the little ones inside, things like that, that we can then sell as concessions. As we get more finalized information with all of that, Mr. T and I will be sure to share it out. We have a meeting where we're working on scheduling a meeting with Mr. Jamros here as well. So that way we can kind of iron out a few more details before we get going. Yes, it will be all day. Typically, our district for the Illinois Grade School Music Association, we're one of the largest ones. We're going to have 8 performance rooms, and we will most likely be going pretty much all day. I want to say usually the first performances are like close to like 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and the last ones tend to be like 3 or 4, kind of that. So kind of like a typical school day on a Saturday.
And unlike the ones where we've done in the past, for those of you who've helped us with the large ensembles, this is all smaller groups and solos. So there'll be more performance rooms, but it's not going to be like a ton of parents coming in and watching and having 2 performance rooms and then rotating them out into the cafeteria. It's going to be smaller rooms kind of scattered throughout.
Yeah, like each room maybe has like a quartet in it or something, and then parents of that quartet on the way. So it's a lot, and the performances are also a lot faster than the art contest. With district contest, it's a whole performance. You get time with the judge, everything. And solo ensemble is usually about 8 minutes tops per performance.
Good.
I think so.
And so the only other thing we usually do that we ask music parents for help in getting is we do a judge's lunch that will have the music parents work with.
The judge's lunch comes from ISMA.
Oh, does it come from ISMA now?
I don't know if we have to plan it and ISMA reimburses it.
Yeah,
So
so,
that's something Mr. T was gonna look into too, because I
Okay.
know ISMA gives us some funds for something. But I'm not sure if that's judge's lunch, if that's director's lunch, if it's both. We haven't gotten an answer from Mr. Copley. Yeah.
Sorry.
Working on it.
This is primarily just the middle school. 5th grade parents, if you wanted to volunteer for this, because this might be something you'd be interested in the future with your students as well. So you are more than welcome to join with that, but this is primarily for 6th through 8th grade performers. But they're also welcome to help volunteer because as you heard, we have plenty of spots. So
We will never say no.
no.
And I'm sure as we get closer, we'll send out, what's the, yeah, sign up geniuses. So I'm sure as we get closer to the event, we'll send out some sign up geniuses so that way we'll get help through that. That's probably the easiest way, and we'll coordinate through the exec board and get all that set up.
And as more information comes out and it gets closer, I know the directors, when we send out like our weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, kind of like, this is what we've done and this is what's coming up. We'll start including some of that information as soon as we know it. That way you can kind of put it on your radar and it's not like, surprise, alone ensembles in 3 days. We don't want to do that because that would just be scary.
Are there any questions for us about solo ensemble at all?
So yay, we get concerts this year.
Yes, we do have concerts. So the performing arts wing, I know they're not doing them at the elementary level, but we are doing them for 5th grade for the performing arts and for the junior high for performing arts.
And I will say when people are 5th graders that they have concerts, 95% are like jumping for joy. And I mean literally jumping for joy that they get concerts. And then like 30 seconds after, they're immediately like, wait a minute, I have to perform, and they got all anxious, but we're gonna work on that, I promise. They're gonna be totally fine. I keep reminding them that they get to show off. It's not like a performance or anything, it's just something to show off what they've done from now until our concert day. So we're working on that, but they're mostly really, really excited for that.
In the past,
I don't think we've been told otherwise, have we? Or have we asked?
We haven't been told otherwise. I don't think that's something that we have gone up to like Mr. Jamrose yet. Because I'm sure he will probably have to get approval from the other, the higher ups. Yeah.
So it's something, yeah, it's something we can check and get back to you on, but
Honestly, it's something that I personally have not even thought about yet.
I think the first one to know.
Yeah.
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 So there is some time in there, but that's something else. It's kind of nice. I would encourage if you have a free evening, which I realize doesn't exist, but if you can bring your 5th graders to see some of the junior high concerts, it's really cool for them to see what's going to happen for them in a couple of years. It's a neat experience. So we just encourage you,
Right, we sent out our concert dates, but if you're interested in attending some of those, please let us know, and we can send those out as well. Yeah, of course we could buy them.
Yeah.
And if we can get ice cream, would that break the chair? It would definitely bribe me.
Awesome. All right, we particularly done a fall fundraiser for the music parents. That funding goes for a variety of things for the kids throughout the year. Examples in the past, there's been trips,
drum sets.
there's been equipment, there's instruments, there's been some t-shirts that have happened, prizes, incentives. We've helped provide, when they've had the socials in the past, we've provided snacks and things for that. So it goes, everything that the money goes for is going to the kids. That's what the funds are used for. Do we have approval to do a fall fundraiser again? And have,
I think Mr. T has been working on getting the approval.
the virtual fundraiser of selling popcorn, and it was really a beautiful system because the directors and the volunteers didn't have to touch any product or any money. It was all virtual. So the kids would get, yeah,
And it was really good popcorn too.
yeah.
I have a lot of it still. I'm still eating it.
It didn't last long in my life. I was in contact with them if we're interested in using them again. They have in-person or virtual this year. We can do it the exact same way. It's a 50% profit share, which is good. 50-50 share of the profits. Basically, it's really very little. I wouldn't say no, but it's very little work for us because the students are given a personal like ID that they can just say, hey, family members, and they can do it on Facebook or email or text or whatever. Here's the site. Would you like to support me by buying some popcorn? And then that person goes on, places their order, they pay right there on the site, and it is shipped directly to their house. So it's really a no hassle fundraiser.
We did have questions that Ray probably was looking for that. I mean, Mr. King.
Okay. So one of the things Mr. Smith and I have been talking about is there's some things for fifth grade that we would like. 'Cause we have, as many of you know, for the fifth grade program, there is no budget at all. We're not provided one for the school district. And there's certain things through the year that the fifth graders need, like they need uniforms, which we get shirts. And traditionally, the students of fifth grade pay for those. What we would like to do is see if possibly either if we could piggyback off of, if we're doing a virtual fundraiser for the junior high, if we could piggyback off it and do the same thing for the elementary school, or if we could do a separate fundraiser, maybe something either similar or something completely different at the elementary level, and use those funds to then get those items for the elementary kids. So that's something we wanted to bring up to you guys and see kind of if you'd be open to that, because I know in the past we've talked about doing multiple fundraisers in a year. So maybe if we run one at the junior high and then one at the elementary level, that maybe would work. And if we do either the same fundraiser twice, one at different points of the year, or if we do a different fundraiser, because I know like the EMSA used to do, was it the Foozies? That was called? They're socks that like are like super like weird designs and all kinds of stuff. And EMSA Fusion used to do it as their fundraiser, but now they're not doing EMSA Fusion at the junior high. And that's one of those ones that's also all virtual, and parents just go on and order it. So that's something that maybe we could do, or popcorn, or whatever it happens to be.
So a little bit of background, fifth grade unfortunately has not participated in fundraising. The middle school music parents organization has been very kind and has helped the elementary program quite a bit. And we're just trying to offset some of that. We want to make sure that the money that the middle schoolers are raising can then be used for the middle school, so that we can have something for the elementary on top of that as well. So we want to make sure that it's pretty equal all the way across. I mean, we're very thankful that Music Parents has been helping us, but if we can kind of start going, not on our own, but just start kind of building from there so that we can offer a little bit more for our students.
Yes.
My daughter's studying in fifth grade, so if you like we could talk and we can point in the right direction, I'd be more than willing to help with fundraising for like the fifth graders this year. I know Matt and some of the other fifth grade parents that are here are really, really active in their elementary school. So I can only speak for myself, and if Matt that you would, but I would be more than willing to kind of just something to do.
Do you think it's more beneficial to just run it at two separate fundraisers? Or
Well, I think it depends if we're going virtual or physical. I think anything we do that's physical, it'd be too much to do at 8 schools.
Right.
Because I know it was brought up today, we were talking with, we were at our bar today, we were talking with the person who's in charge of student council. She's like, oh yeah, the PTO is not doing the stencils here anymore. You guys could totally do that and raise money. And yeah, we can, and we know how much we can get 500 stencils for, because we do it every year for the beginners. But then the problem is somebody has to be there and collect money. And when you're at 7 different schools, it makes it kind of a hassle. So I think if we do something, like if we're doing popcorn, for instance, and it's virtual, I think it's very easy to also open it up to 5th graders. If we're doing something that's a physical product, I think we would have to do something else for the 5th graders that's strictly virtual.
it would seem fairly easy to do the line item in the IT parents budget of 5th grade recruitment, 5th grade incentive, whatever.
Yeah.
And you guys probably know about how much money you need for that, and you would make sure that that's covered. And then you could open up the fundraiser for the 5th grade parents to help raise the funds to cover those beginning ensemble. expenses. Does that seem like a good idea?
Yeah, because it's pretty much similar to what we do with Jazz Band, and that's why we have the jazz fundraiser every year. It's just we haven't done it in the last 2 years because of COVID. But
So it would be separated in the budget so people, for
Yeah.
clarity, transparency of where the funds are going and
I think that would be a good idea. But like Mark said, we just want to make sure that if we are taking money from the music parents, that we're also then contributing, because we want to make sure that it's just not the middle schoolers that are pulling the younger kids along. We want to make sure that they're also contributing.
I don't think that everyone sees a number of like we guys do, but I know that. I do not know.
So I just want to add, keep in mind, popcorn, I'm all for corners, it's the logo. But popcorn, always got focus on popcorn, so then, selling the same items can be a little bit difficult, but if I'm buying for my nephew and then my daughter, her children selling popcorn as well.
Yeah, that was the issue we ran into last year because our timing was right after the Boy Scouts. Our Boy Scout helper didn't let us know that it was lining up right with the Boy Scouts.
No, actually, I did know, but it's a different, it's a different kind of popcorn and your timeline was a little different, so.
Well, also Miss Toyka and I pretty much funded that whole fundraiser between just the two of us.
I want to win.
So, yeah, we kind of opened a competition between the two of us. So, yeah.
they are the
Yeah.
popcorn company and the video company.
Yeah, and we didn't know that last year, right? Because
We just thought it was such a hard year last year, we didn't want to take on too much. So we could also offer candies and cookie dough and wrapping paper.
now, would they ship that stuff straight to the house as well, or would they have to come here? Because I know when we've done cookie dough in the past, and it was a great fundraiser. The only problem was there was always like 3 or 4 people who never picked it up, and then we'd have to find a place to store it. And it was always like storing it in Arbor's freezer, and then that was a whole ordeal. So like, if we're gonna go that route, I'm fine with it, but then it would have to still be as shipped to consumer, so we don't have to touch physical
Double
goods.
check with the rep, that it sounded like everything, if you set up a virtual fundraiser, everything is shipped to consumer.
Okay.
But I'll double check that.
I like the idea of keeping it virtual. Yeah, it's so much easier. And I
Yeah.
just think that will make it easier. Even when I was doing the 5th grade gig, I used to speak with Mrs. Moore as well, like, what about 5th grade? Should 5th grade participate in the fundraiser? And it was always, well, you're at 7 schools, how are you gonna do a kickoff? At that point, the kickoff was always in person, and I said, you can't do that all in one day. And then it just kind of got out of hand.
If you kept it virtual, would be very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, virtual would be great
Really
for
nice.
elementary, it's just physicals.
Really nice things to come out of it.
And then
Yeah.
if we go with the same company, we get to choose, their incentive program is included. There's no additional funds. You still get 50/50 profit. But we get to choose if we do kind of like the tchotchke items, or they have a program where every 3 bags of popcorn that someone sells, they get a mini bag free, like a smaller version. So sort of the idea was older kids usually would rather have the popcorn. They don't want the little sticky egg that you throw on the wall.
The kids at the junior high here last year loved those little sticky egg things. They were throwing them everywhere. At least the ones in bad.
I was. My son likes the little crazy things, but not everyone does. So it doesn't matter. We can choose whichever one we prefer. We just have to let them know whether we want the kids to earn free popcorn or prize items.
Now, would we be able to negotiate with them? Because I know one of the big issues last year is when people donated money, they took a percentage of the donated money.
We would encourage them this year not to donate through them, because we now have set up on our website that a cash donation can be made. So we would share that information, and if someone wants to make a donation, we'd ask them to do that.
Is there a way to remove from our whatever fundraising site that option? Because that's what I wouldn't want somebody to donate through, because that was the big thing last year. Somebody donated quite a bit of money and then they took half of the money, if I remember. And we ended up.
When we got a profit sheet back, I was like, wait a minute, these $100, just for a round number, we only got 50 out of that donation. That seems like we should get 100%. So after a lot of going back and forth, we negotiated at 80%. We got 80%, and they kept 20%. But that was kind of I thought it was very misleading. We didn't know, so we didn't tell people that if you make a $50 donation, we're really only getting 25. And I felt like that was misleading, and they conceded, so we got 80%, but we will look into that, because if you make a donation to our website portal, then it goes straight to our account, it's 100% donation.
Kind of on the fundraiser topic. As far as like, we usually did the swag order in the fall as like an additional type of a thing. I don't know if that's something we wanted to bring up again. I know the sixth graders, the seventh graders have seen. I wear some of the swag, the eighth graders do, and they're like, oh, I want that.
We're definitely not a bad person.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
and I didn't know if, depending on what Mr. Cannon and Mr. Smith wanted to do, if they had a certain logo that they would want added as like, you can get a beginning performing art like fun t-shirt, not even if it's necessarily the concert one. And just to kind of have them also participating in the swag, even though a lot of times they'll still probably want to buy the IT stuff too.
Do you want to-
Yes. What time frame and what items would we like? We can keep the bears on the order. We still have a box of those.
I would say probably just stick with the same items, right? Because they kind of, we did the hoodie.
Yeah, we have the sweatshirt, we have like the hoodie sweatshirt, we have just the non-hoodie sweatshirt, a long sleeve t-shirt, and a t-shirt.
It also be good because considering our performance on Friday, not every kid had IT swag either.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have.
Would you like that order?
Usually we did it in like
We did November.
November, and it's due right
Pick up in
before
December.
the fall break, is when everything was like due.
Yeah, and then pick up in
Distributed
December.
the week before winter break.
In time for holiday gifts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we can distribute, I mean, we can, I would honestly say just do, we'll probably just press up the IT stuff to begin. Or do you want? Hoodie or something.
Yes and no, like I don't really mind, but I also feel like a fifth grader would want something of their own program, you know, to commemorate them being in that program. So I don't mind them wanting to buy IT stuff, but I think we should also have an option for the fifth graders.
Like I said, it's all maybe just a hoodie.
Hoodie, t-shirt, maybe just as simple as that hoodie and t-shirt.
So how about a hoodie and a t-shirt and I'll get Susan the logo.
I think you want to forward, put it all in one.
Sounds good. So hoodie and a t-shirt.
A hoodie and a t-shirt, Bill Wilson, and we'll throw primary copies, but it's pretty simple there. So.
And there's still eighth graders that are wearing their.
They're
Fifth
together.
grade, like the shirts.
Yeah, I thought so.
I definitely don't fit in mine anymore. It's a little small, so
Sometimes we get to a nice little blanket.
it's a little short.
The big thing now is making quotes out of old t-shirts and stuff like that. So anything they could get, they can turn into a quote like from the t-shirts and
And
all
I'm
that.
the one that's by the third because it's gonna be my money. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
We can put that all in one order.
Yeah.
Form and
Well, we can just put it on the website because we already have that website link live, I think, still. We just have to resend it out, so.
okay. I'll get in touch with Susan and we'll get that moving.
Okay.
At that early November. For a fundraiser date, what would be our preferred time? I know we have to get okays, but if I could give them kind of an idea.
No, it'd probably be November too, wouldn't it?
We did it in October.
Last year was October.
Yeah.
I would say end of October, early November.
Well, I think it's always around the beginning of the November conference. Too. So I don't want to train them to that conference and then they also.
But if it's all virtual. If everything's virtual and because basically the way because you didn't do the one last year, basically the way it works is everyone's got a store and they send it out to their relatives and they order through the link.
It's like a 2-week window.
Yeah, it's a 2-week window. So if you do it the last week in October and the first week in November.
I think last year we did the last 2 weeks of October.
I mean, I will go back.
And I don't, if that was conflicting with Boy Scouts, I don't know if pushing it back a few weeks would be
Boy
better.
Scouts ends the end of October, yeah.
So if we do the first like 2 weeks of November. If we
Yeah,
have,
like October 31st through November 13th, possibly.
Because I know last year we pushed into November because we said it officially ended, but then we pushed it.
We added a week.
You wanna put in the fall break, which is the 22nd.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like the last week of October into the first week of November. Because then you're done before concerts.
I just don't think people remember. And when we send out parents, you know, we focus on the concert. Sure, I mean, having it in the program would help and assist. I just.
Well, how about this? Since
It seems that there are, there are lots of things going on. So adding another thing on top of the thing had been an issue.
How about this? Since Keith's not here, why don't we discuss this as a team and we'll get back to you so that way Keith has some input.
So it's right, it would be right smack dab in the middle of what I'm decided. And which I think is.
There is some benefits to advertising the fundraiser during the concert.
So why don't we talk to Keith? Yeah, why don't we talk to Keith and we'll email you back so that way Keith has an input and they can discuss it and go.
And we'll figure out the date.
Oops,
Like a
sorry.
particular day it has to start on.
We started
And we usually started at like a we started it like on a Wednesday or Thursday so that way we could try it to make sure there was no bugs and we found a couple bugs last year. I made it work, so.
That's the last thing with the remodel. Music Parents has several supplies that we have to store and everything had to leave the room so that they could remodel the whole place and make it look all fancy, and that's all sitting at my house currently, which needs to go somewhere.
So we lost the storage. So when they built the humidity control room and we lost the whole storage.
I was gonna say that room is gone.
Yeah, that room is gone, yes.
Which is really nice because pretty much if they're not necessarily in control space, they can break very easily. So it's really nice that we have a really controlled space, but that we lost a whole bunch of storage. Like that barely fits the orchestra instruments I need for class alone, and we lost a whole extra closet, so.
Like we've got 4 main boxes, in case you're wondering. We've got 3 large boxes of decorations for the Pops concert. Got 2 coolers for, like water coolers for when we host events. We've got a couple foam coolers. Got 5.
Well, the foam coolers, I would say we could probably toss, because the reason why we kept those was for cookie dough. They're those little foam ones.
Yeah.
So those I would say we could probably.
There's a couple things that aren't, like there's a fog machine, but it's not working, so I'm.
Oh, it doesn't work? We didn't know if it worked or not, so.
Don't really get your money to throw that out.
Yeah, throw that out, throw out the fog juice. It's probably
We have
20 years
several
old.
boxes of those magazines that goes, I think.
Those can probably come back in because we would use those.
There's just lots of stuff. So we can, figure out where we can
Yeah,
find the corner.
so most of the stuff for the music parents that we have is like kitchen items for when we host contests, and then at the end of the year we always have a big Cops concert for jazz and for the clubs. So like Drumline would come out, Glee Club would come out, Pep Notes would come out, and we have this whole like dinner where parents bring food and we have a raffle. And so a lot of the stuff is just decorations for that, but we have to store it somewhere. And normally we would store it here, but since we lost the whole room, we were even fighting for storage. Like we have boxes still sitting in the room because we have nowhere to put them yet. So we're looking for somebody who has space that's secure and dry that can store these items. Right?
At the end of this year.
At the end of this year or sooner.
Sooner is grand, but by the end of this year, they're gonna have to go somewhere.
I mean, alternatively, we can put them underneath this.
I mean, that's a huge expense. That's true.
Even trying to find storage for anything. We've asked for storage for other things, and we can ask again.
I talked to Mr. Jenkins about it. He had talked to Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, did he?
He
Okay.
said they think this the school is bursting.
Okay.
We
I mean, it looks really nice. It's just we lost a lot of storage space.
So it's a lot of reworking things, playing Tetris, all sorts of things.
I would say, we just ask if, you know, fifth grade parents, if you don't mind, reaching out to your directors, saying, hey, I would love to help with this or that. If you need my email, directors, please share my
Yep.
email. We'd be glad to sign you up for things. Got a fundraiser co-host ready to go, couple co-hosts over there. We'll work together. We'll get that going. But we would really love to include, you know, as much as you guys would like to be a part of us, we'd love to have your help. So, yeah. Thank you. Do you have any other questions, anybody?
Nope.
We
So,
appreciate you all doing that.
And thank you for coming.
next meeting, October 25th, we hope you can all come again. There will be Zoom links, options, if that's more convenient, and we'll meet in person again, I believe, correct? Awesome.
All right, thank you all for coming. I'm actually just gonna hang around for a second.